All right, solo practice, June 11th, 2020. So yesterday I did a series of cuts of various sorts in Georgian. And today I'm going to do a similar series in Bolognese, and I've set up to do this at least a mix, sword alone, sword and buckler, sword and dagger. But hopefully I've got this focused on my feet for a bit here, because I want to talk a little bit before that about stance. Right, so one of the things that came up in our talk yesterday was stances. And I made a comment that I guess I still kind of hold by. I just wanted to explain in more detail for those who may not quite have, well, if you weren't there or wanted to understand what I was getting at. And I'll try and show everything forward and sideways here. We talked about three different stances. We talked about our Fiore stance, which most of you guys should know. Feet are square, I come out one, sort of 2.5, that pivots, and I'm here, right? Or the same thing at a side, right? I'm here, and I come out sort of one, sort of two-ish, and settle, right? I've got some good forward to back space. The shin is straight. My body should be fairly upright. I can lean a little, but I want to keep my center of gravity between my legs, right? Then we have our classical fencing stance. So here I begin with my heels together in first position, and I step out and settle in, right? Again, my weight is somewhat balanced. My heels are in a line, right? And if we look at this sideways, right, I'm here. And I've settled in, my hip girdle's fairly straight, my arms very profiled. But neither of these is what Marazzo shows, or any of the other Bolognese authors, for that matter. What they seem to show, to me, seems like it's sort of halfway in between the two. So if I'm taking a stance for Marazzo, I'm going to be narrower than Fiore, but not as narrow as fencing. And I'm going to be a little more just sort of here, right? This, I can actually shift my weight in a very sensing stance. Marazzo often shows us a straight back leg. I'm going to do this again sideways here, right? So I'm kind of here. He often shows us this straight, or we'll see this up, but we're often here. Now, when you look at like Ilka do this, and then we have the question of where's my hips, right? How am I profiled? How am I, right? You'll see this. You'll see people who do this a lot. I don't get this. I tend to lean in a bit more with this. I want that ability to move in and out. So, yeah, thinking about this, where do I come? A little more forward, a little more, straight line down my back here, ready to reach forward, but I still want my weight. I don't want to project forward over that toe too strongly. So you'll see me in here like this, here. We see this in later Italian, where we see stances that end up looking like this. All of those tend to be different ways to reduce target area. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The important parameters are, it's not a straight sport fencing stance, and it's not Fiore's stance. It's in between the two, and you're going to have to find your happy place. I don't know that I have a hard rule for this as yet. But just like I did with Georgian, where I came here and I made straight cuts, small cuts, big cuts, really big cuts, we're going to play a little bit here with Bolognese and the different cuts and how I like to do it. One of the things with Bolognese, and this came up again in the discussion last night when we were looking at art, is the Guardia Alta, which is somewhat analogous to the open fight, right, from silver. And here in Guardia alta, right? I'm set up in a relatively narrow stance, very upright, with my sword above. I don't like this. It's a position to pass through, not to wait, right? And a blow from this isn't necessarily terribly powerful. It's slow and awkward to get my arm out with reach. To drop it down here works relatively well. At least that's how I feel about it. I don't know. When cutting in Bolognese, one of the things we see a lot of advice for is, for example, if I'm up here in Becca Sesa and I want to make a mandrito, a descending cut from my right, what we'll see is the advice says we come around. We throw a molinello, right? That in fact from here I have to begin by making a false edge cut towards myself to set up, pass through Guardia alta, and cut forward. Cool. But if I'm fencing you, and I stand here, and I retract my point to do this, I'm giving you lots of time to do something. If I'm here, and I throw an imbricata, boom. Now, I'm not giving you nearly the time, but I'm likely to create an action that allows, if I come from here, you're not going to let me come this way. So if I want to throw a mandrito from here, how can I do this, right? I don't know. It depends. We can play things different ways. So if I'm here, let's think about this. And I don't want to just do this because it's a long tempo, and I don't want to give you the chance to hit me. So what might I do from here? I'm here, and I come forward with this, which causes you to parry and give me a chance to cut around, because you're committed to pushing me aside here, which lets me come. Can I do this and still throw on the same side? If I'm here, and you have countered me, it's okay. I need to get another blade in here to feel this and see how it's really doing. But I come, boom. I'm here, I provoke with a thrust, right? You parry me aside. So what is this action? Because this feels like a useful thing to drill, break the pieces down and drill. What am I doing? I thrust forward. I am bound over and pushed aside, although they're probably going to want to turn me like this, right? But I'm bound over, turned aside, and cut around. Push me aside, I cut back. Let's see here. I'm going to pause this and set up a second blade simulator. Okay, so I've set up something as a counter blade here. So I'm here and I'm pushed aside. All right, so I'm here. What I can't do from here is easily pull through this way, right? If I pull back this way, I'm redirecting that to me, so I have to come around. So if I'm here, thrust and around. Thrust and around. Thrust and around. And I'm moving my tool. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I need a better blade simulator. Similarly, other actions I can make here is I can provoke here, right? So we've played with up here. Common guards, right? The analogy of third position in later Italian saber and fourth. Both of these I can provoke with a staccata. If I come in here and provoke with that staccata, there's a good chance that I will be pushed one way or the other. right? So if I want to make a mandrito, perhaps I make, you know, depending on where we are, I'm going to thrust and from here, I make a thrust, get pushed off, thrust, thrust, now, thrust, 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 thrust. So if I'm coming from here and I thrust to here to provoke, I expect to be pushed. What are my other options? Thrust, thrust, thrust. All right, I gotta get a way to move this blade lower. I think I'm just gonna try strapping a metal blade to it. Got spares somewhere. All right, so let's think about how these actions are affected by the buckler. One of the things we looked at was, what's the deal with this we see, right? The elbow's flown out to the side. It's not down here, but it is clearly out. I don't like this. This makes my elbow a target. From fencing Georgian, that really bothers me. But we do seem to see it in Bolognese, so, no, we'll figure it out. So, thinking about this here. All right, so let's say I'm here. All right, I can, all right, if I just want to make this cut, this is going to almost hit my buckler, so. The buckler position straight forward of my shoulder doesn't do a whole lot of interference with my sword. But there are some effects, right? If I'm here and I want to thrust from this side to draw a parry, and return, right? So what am I doing here? I'm here and I'm thrusting to draw a parry, and I'm cutting back to the same guard, right? Thrust to draw the parry, let that turn. My passing footwork, I always want to go offline here. Got to think about what he tells us. I could do a gather, right? A crest, recover, all front leg actions. I don't like that so much, but that could just be me. I don't know, worth playing with. And then let's think about, sorry, I'm rushing through this part, how having a dagger here changes options, right? Here's where I need to stop and go back and look and see what he does with the dagger in the offhand. But I do believe we have at least one case where I'm here and here, right? My guards, if you look at these, one of the interesting things about this is if I walk forward, my points are in about the same location, which makes this somewhat deceptive. Because if I'm here, I can, with an extension of my arm, reach. With a pass of my feet, reach. Right? So with different actions, I can extend. But I'm here. So let's think about this. What can I play here? Right, or better, I'm here. Right? From here, right? With an extension, I can reach. And if you retreat, I can make a big reach. But let's look at our provocations and our cuts. All right, so I'm here. And as I reach here, Right, as I reach here and I get pressed off to this side, right, and roll away. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And a lot of this is postulate here for me at the moment. I'm feeling my way through these combinations and what works and what doesn't for me, right? So, I am here. I extend and begin to get pressed aside. I do not want to give up presence. This then takes, and that goes. Now, this does suppose that they have countered with their sword. Will be less relevant if I'm dealing with somebody who counters my sword with their dagger. But it is still there. Now, again, in this case, if I'm up here and I come forward and they go to take, I have some options. Right? I can disengage, just dip under and thrust on the other side. Right? I'm here. But you'll notice every time I'm trying to cross over with the dagger, for the most part, I'm gonna have to sweep. I can't trust. I've got to clear my, basically from here to here, I need to clear with the dagger at some point. Then there are my other fun things. If we're playing single sword and I'm here and you clear me off, let's say you clear me this way, I may not try and come back here. If you do that, I have options, right? If I'm here, I gotta do this and you clear, right? And at this point with that step, I've got reach. From here, let's think. I provoke with a thrust, right? So if I'm here and I provoke with a thrust and you parry me aside, let's try this. I've got two targets, 1 and 2. So I provoke with a staccata. I am pressed aside. This clears and that comes through. Try this the other direction here, just for shits and giggles. I'm here. I provoke with a staccata. I am pressed aside. This clears. I am definitely finding that for this system, a slight forward lean does feel more natural to me. For Fiore, I tend to be more upright. For here, I do tend to be more in line with my back leg. So something to think about. If anybody bothers to watch this, we'll see. Yeah, that's enough of me blathering. I'm gonna turn the video off and get back to work here.